Well, hi, friends. Welcome to your first week of small groups. I'm glad I can be with you uh, in person, but also in the internet. And if you're watching this after the fact, then I'm glad you tuned in. I don't want to spend a whole lot of your time with me chatting at you. The point of this is for you to get into the Word and get to know one another and spend time with your leaders. But I do want to make sure you know a little bit more about me. My hope is that you guys are sharing some uh, facts and details with one another. Uh, but here's some stuff about me. So, three facts about myself that you guys probably already know. I'm from New Jersey, and so I can talk like this if I got it. I um, I have a dog named Spruce. I also had a dog growing up named Dandy. Both were yellow labs. I love dogs. And number three, I'm half Italian, so pizza, pizza, and more pizza. And then one dream that I have, a dream I always had was to run a marathon. I did that a couple years ago, and so now it's on to my next dream. And so a dream that I have to um, is to catch a muskie. I've never done it. I've never caught like one of those giant fish. And so next on my list is to catch like a giant, enormous muskie. So I hope you guys can share some of these facts and dreams with one another. And then two favorites. I already said pizza is one of my favorite things, so that's going to be a double feature right there. But then my favorite thing right now is just seeing my daughter whenever Charlie, whenever I come home, she's just so happy to see me. So that is like literally my favorite thing. But if I could have that and pizza at the same time, man, it doesn't get better than that. So those are some things about me. I hope you guys take a chance to share some of those things about you with one another. But to get you into your small groups tonight, I wanted to put us on the right foot. And so at large group last week, you heard me talk about how important the Bible is and how the Bible is powerful and it's authoritative. The goal for tonight is to dig in for you to see some of that for yourselves. And so we're going to read 2 Timothy chapter 3 together. And that's where this theme verse for this year comes from. 2 Timothy, I know I said 1 Timothy last week, I was wrong. 2 Timothy 3:16 says, all scripture is inspired by God and is useful to teach us what is true and make us realize what is wrong in our lives. It corrects us when we are wrong and teaches us what to do, or teaches us to do what is right. God uses it to equip his people to do every good work. So that is 16 and 17 of chapter 3 in 2 Timothy in the New Living Translation. And so I want you guys to read this chapter and look at what this means for you guys as Christians, as followers of Jesus. What are we supposed to do with this book that God has given us, and how does it apply to our lives? In other translations, the word that Paul actually used there for inspired is God breathed. And so if this is the very word, the very breath of God, if this is designed to give us life, to provide power for how we live and what we do, what does that look like? And I think we'll begin to see some of that from getting into chapter 3. And so my last thing to encourage you on before you guys take some time to do this for yourselves is this book is powerful and it can give life, but we need to treat it like it is what it is, right? There's a video that if you guys are interested, you can watch as part of a lecture, so I imagine none of you are going to watch it, but by this great scholar named Gordon Fee, and he talks about how your average freshman in college who takes a Shakespeare class can tell you more about Hamlet than the average reader of the Bible could tell you about the book of Galatians. He says you could probably quote a couple verses from Galatians, but if I ask you what is Galatians about, what's the main point, most people won't know. And so the challenge for us this year is to say, do we actually understand what we're reading? Do we actually know, as we're reading 2 Peter chapter 3, what this is about? Or can we just pull these verses out and try and apply them? And we need to be able to understand a little bit more than verses. If I asked you what the plot of Hamlet was and you just told me like one line, it wouldn't make any sense. It's the same thing with Scripture. Although those individual verses can be really powerful, we need to know the bigger thing. And so if you guys are interested, you're going to be using questions that InterVarsity uses when they do their Bible study. There's little bookmarks like this. If anybody wants one, I have a bunch and can make sure they get to you. But the idea is that when we read Scripture, we got to pray. We got to observe what the text says. We got to interpret it and say, all right, this is what it said. What does it mean? And then we got to apply it to our lives and say, God, how do you want me to use this? My hope is that we take a big step forward tonight and this year in doing that together. So that's what I got. There's my 5 minutes. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys face to face. God bless.